Welcome to Built on Faith Homestead, where we like to talk about things like tiny houses, gardening, raising animals, and all that kind of fun stuff. Today, we are going to do some very important work actually on the tiny house. Something I didn't do in the wintertime because it's not really too much of a concern in the wintertime. However, it's hot, it's muggy, it's Missouri weather. We have officially, I think, entered into summertime heat and moisture and all of that, and this is something I need to take care of in order to protect our tiny house. So today we are going to be thinking outside the box. That's kind of our whole deal with the tiny house, and learning to think outside the box. We were talking with our daughter this morning. Well, no, it wasn't this morning. It was yesterday evening, I think. About being different, and it's okay to be different. Not the kind of different, I'm not saying it's okay to be just a complete weirdo, but I guess a lot of people think I'm a weirdo, so I don't know. Anyhow, our daughter is homeschooled, and she's got friends and, family that's not homeschooled, and she was wondering why and those kinds of things, and she said she wanted to be like everybody else. And I said, Sissy, I understand what you're saying, but I said, do you love your home? And she said, Daddy, I love this home. I said, you like it more than our old home? She goes, Daddy, I love this home. I said, Sissy, you realize we live in a home that most people wouldn't live in, right? Different. We enjoy it. It's good for us. We love it, right? I understand it may not be everybody's thing, but it's our thing, and we really enjoy living in this tiny house. So we need to put some vents into this tiny house underpinning to keep it from molding underneath the house. I couldn't find exactly what I was looking for. And in the true spirit of tiny house living and having to just think outside the box for some things, let me show you what we got. All right, so here's what we've bought. We've bought these vents. They are for indoor use, but they are metal. They're a sidewall ceiling vent, 8x4. Got them at Lowe's. I wanted something metal. And I wanted something I could easily close, and it's got a nice little deal up here you can slide back and forth. Let me show you kind of our tin real quick and why I bought these. So here's the tin that we got, and my thought process was these vents, I can mount them vertically in between the ribs on this tin, and that will help move some air underneath this house and hopefully keep us from getting too moldy underneath there. And so, it's Missouri. It's hot. It's humid. I wouldn't be too shocked if we get a little bit of mold here and there. But we'll do what we can. Also, this sits in a low spot. There used to be an old trailer up here, and our tiny house is way smaller than the trailer. And so the spot that was leveled out for the trailer is bigger than our tiny house, which means our tiny house is kind of in a hole. And there's a few places it kind of holds water anyway. So, but we will do all that we can to vent it to help keep the humidity down. So far, our little outdoor unit is working fine. So far, our little mini split system has worked great. We'll maybe do an update on it one of these days, show you some more of the ins and outs, but we really like it. What I think I'll do is I will walk around this tiny house with these vents and kind of lay them out where I think I want them. And then I think I'm gonna, because it's so hot, I think it'd be easiest to walk around the tiny house, lay them out, and then just unscrew the piece of tin off of the boards that I've got them screwed to. Unscrew them, come over here, mount my vents on the tin, take the whole piece of tin back, screw it back up. I think that's gonna be the easiest way to do it. That's what we're gonna try. If it don't work, it don't work, but that's my plan. That's number one goal. Also, a couple spots where I stuck the drains up through the floor. I need to spray foam them, and so while I have the tin off, we're gonna go ahead and spray foam them too. But anyhow, I better get to work. Come along, get a little bit of sweat equity into the tiny house today, and let's just get to work. All right, guys, so you can see here, I've got my piece of tin. I already did one, and then I wasn't thinking, I guess I'll record what I'm doing here. So, got my piece of tin. I can't put it right in the middle because there's going to be a big block right in the middle, and that will definitely not allow as much air through. So, I've got a nice Sharpie here underneath this. You can see the size hole it needs to be cut. I'm just going to flip it over, put it down like that. I'm going to trace around where I need to cut my hole at and cut it out. I cut the last one out with a Sawzall. It did okay. It wasn't great, but it's going to work good enough, I think. And so, and then I'm just using a couple of screws to mount it into this tin, and then back on the wall it goes. All right, y'all. So here it is, mounted up to that piece of tin. That one went a lot smoother than the first one because I kind of had an idea what I was doing. But here it is mounted up, and now all I got to do is switch the impact over from a screwdriver to a nut driver, and then it will be good to go. We'll screw it back onto the tiny house. All right, y'all. There's our vent on and opened up. I'll show you the other one I did a while ago. On and opened up. So we are making progress. We got 2 down, a whole bunch more to go, but we're making progress, slow but sure in the heat. Having to get a few drinks out of the garden hose, huh, baby doll? Yeah, helps you grow tall drinking out of a garden hose. Well, we're a little over halfway done putting the vents on. I'm gonna sit in the shade a little bit and take a break. It is hot. I got some of that spray foam on my hat, but better my hat than my hair, I guess. We got some of the holes sealed up underneath the tiny house. We got half the vents on. We are doing good, but it is rather warm, and so just got me a drink out of the garden hose, and I'm going to sit down and cool down for a little bit before I start on the next half of the vent work here. All right, so we've got our vents on back of the house, vent on the sides of the house, and come on, shut the door, and vents down the front of the house. And Llewell's got some hot dogs we're roasting. So that should be good enough to keep our house from molding underneath the house, keep the moisture content down. Good news is, when I was underneath the house, I didn't see any mold yet. So there's been none that has formed. And these vents should keep it from forming, especially as wet as it's been. If we were going to have mold, you think we'd have had it by now. But these vents should keep it from forming altogether. And so I'm going to go now and enjoy the rest of the evening with my wife and kiddos. We're roasting hot dogs because that's what you do when it's 90 degrees outside. And bratwurst and those kinds of things. And having a good time. Kids are running in the sprinkler while we water the garden. It's a good time outside. So, guys, sometimes you just got to think out of the box. Like we said, those vents are not meant for what they're doing, but they're going to work just fine. And it'll work good. So we'll catch you guys next time.